Welcome to the California Raptor Center. We are going to go on a walkthrough tour of our ambassador birds who live on exhibit. So coming into the front of the Raptor Center here, we are going to encounter our two largest birds of prey in our first exhibit. We have two golden eagles. The large bird on the right-hand side is Fuzzy, our female. The smaller bird on the left is Sullivan, the male. Now both birds here are not fully flighted. Sullivan had an injury to the tip of his wing that renders him flightless. And Fuzzy, we think, may have been the victim of a strike on a wind turbine. She has an old shoulder injury that prevents her from achieving full flight. Now coming around, we are going to see our owl exhibit. We have a parliament of owls in here. There are several great horned owls who live in this large flight enclosure. Now every bird that you see on exhibit here is a bird that could not be released into the wild. They have some sort of debilitating disability that would prevent them from being able to survive. Now we're coming around to get an up close and personal meet and greet with one of our Swainson's hawks. This is Grasshopper. Grasshopper has been at the Raptor Center since 2006. He is here because he is blind in his left eye. He has a cataract obscuring his vision. And raptors, being such visual hunters, really need the depth perception provided by both eyes to be able to effectively hunt. We know Grasshopper at the time he was found was not hunting effectively because he was starving to death due to that cataract impacting his vision and his ability to hunt. Now this is a species, speaking of their hunting habits, they hunt a lot of small rodents during the breeding season to feed their growing young, but during their migration, which can take them thousands of miles, from their breeding grounds as far north as Alaska, then down to their overwintering grounds in Central and South America. When they're traveling that journey, they can eat a majority insect-based diet, which is why we call this bird Grasshopper. Now, as we come around a little bit further, we are about to meet one of our turkey vultures. This is Juliet. Juliet has been at the Raptor Center longer than many of our other birds. She's been here since 1993. Juliet is here with a permanent wing injury that keeps her from being able to glide and soar like turkey vultures need to in order to spot the carrion that they eat. In order to spot that carrion, they use their eyes. They also use that nose of theirs. Turkey vultures are one of the few types of birds that has been shown to have a very keen sense of smell. You'll notice looking at her as well that she is bald, which is a turkey vulture feature. That bald head of hers is actually an adaptation that turkey vultures have to help them keep clean while they are scavenging and sticking their heads inside of their prey. So we're about to come around to one of our newer buildings. This is our small raptor aviary. Inside the small raptor aviary, we will have some pretty well camouflaged residents. There are two western screech owls and one American kestrel. Now, the kestrel's favorite perch is at the very top of the live tree in the middle of the exhibit. The screech owls prefer to be on top of or inside of the boxes. And being that two of these birds are nocturnal, one of them is diurnal or daytime active, they never really encounter each other very much. Apollo, the kestrel, you might see him bouncing around at the top of the tree, and then you'll be seeing those two screech owls sitting very still, eyes closed, not really being active until nightfall. So coming further down, we are going to encounter a few more of our resident birds. We have our northern harrier, Noah, swooping in for a landing on his front perch here. Noah is a male northern harrier. He actually has nothing physically wrong with him, but he arrived after somebody had him for too long as a little baby bird. Now, most raptors, males and females, can be very hard to tell apart on the surface, but we know for sure Noah is a male because of his gray plumage. Northern harriers are one of the species in this area where the males and the females do look distinctly different. As we move further down, there is actually a bird in here, but you cannot see her right now. This is one of our barn owls, and the reason you cannot see her is that she is sitting on some eggs. She's currently out of sight incubating those eggs. She does this every single spring. Those eggs are not fertile, but she still has those hormonal drives to lay the eggs and then to incubate them. So Citrine is currently off exhibit. Further down, we have our American kestrel, Callie. This is Callie sitting up at the top of her tree perch. Callie is a little bird that came from another wildlife center where somebody had apparently been trying to keep this bird as a pet prior to dropping her off at that wildlife hospital. It is not legal to keep a bird of prey as a pet, and they do not make good pets, and Callie is a great example of that, because as small as she looks right now, she's actually pretty ferocious about defending her territory, and because she is a human-imprinted bird, she will defend that territory against us humans. Not good pet material. Now, if we turn around, take a look over here, we have a very large red-tailed hawk up on this perch. This is Maggie. Maggie is with us because she is missing an eye. She was the victim of a car strike found alongside one of the highways in this area. And fortunately, she didn't break any bones in her body, but unfortunately, being hit by a car did damage her right eye, and it had to be surgically removed. So as we come further along, we can try to take a peek at our prairie falcon. He's very difficult to see because his favorite perch is the shelf in the back corner, which also has the worst lighting for filming, so we might not see Horace very well. But we do have falcons in this area. Prairie falcons are one of the species that you can see in this part of California. Now coming around over here, we have a red-tailed hawk. Another one, a little bit smaller than Maggie, who we just saw, is Jack, our male red-tailed hawk. And Jack, as you can see, is not uncomfortable around people. In fact, trying to probably come out and join us right now. Jack is a bird that we think somebody had as an unlicensed falconry bird because he was found wearing a pair of very crudely made bracelets, and nobody ever came to claim their missing bird. He was also very ill at the time he was found. And then next door we have a bird that is pretty sleepy right now because we are in the middle of daytime, and this is a very nocturnal species. This is a barn owl. Her name is Ember. And Ember, you can learn more about her in the video where you meet the glove birds on the glove. But Ember is here because she and her siblings were nested up in a palm tree, and tree trimmers cut down that tree not knowing the barn owls were in there. The fall caused a permanent wing injury. And then behind us, we have a bird who is molting right now, so please forgive all the feathers everywhere. She's in the process of molting out her old feathers, replacing them with new ones, and right now it is really her downy layer of feathers that is molting. You can actually see one of those downy feathers stuck on her forehead right now. Whistler is a dark morph Swainson's hawk, so she is a same species as grasshoppers we saw earlier, but a different color morph, much darker. And she is a bird that is the result of someone trying to do the right thing, but not doing it the right way. They found her as a fallen out of the nest chick when she was about 4 weeks old and kept her for 7 days before they brought her into the Raptor Center. And those 7 days were all it took to make her into a human imprinted bird whose behaviors don't allow her to be safely released into the wild. So that is Whistler. Now we're going to come around the back here. We're not going to look into any of these cages because these cages are all empty. The reason this bank of cages is empty is that these cages date from the old days of the Raptor Center. These were here back before we were open to the public, back when rehab was really all that we were doing. And so these cages were used for rehabilitation patients. We no longer use them for rehabilitation. All of that is done behind the scenes now. And because we're open to the public, these would be exhibit cages, but they're not really big enough for that. So one of the things we're working on right now is we are trying to raise some funds to be able to replace all of these old and outdated cages with some much newer, larger, nicer exhibits for our permanent resident birds. Now, as we come around the corner here, we're starting to get onto the edge of the hospital side of things at the Raptor Center. So on the hospital side of things, that's where we take care of the birds that are being rehabilitated for release into the wild. So the two cages that we're looking at right now are actually flight cages. So you'll see that these cages are very long, they're relatively low, they've got perches on each end, and this is for a bird that has been in a hospital for a while to begin building up its strength again, to get outdoors in the sun, the weather, and get ready for that return into the wild, to get strong again and get acclimated to the outdoors. So as we come around, we are coming toward the Raptor Center's museum on the right. Our lovely garden, courtesy of our volunteers, on the left over here. And then we are approaching our final exhibit. It may be a little hard for us to peek into, but this is the home of our two newest educational ambassadors, our two turkey vultures, Mary and Pippin. Mary and Pippin are much younger than Juliet, who we just met earlier. Mary and Pippin are only a year old. And these two little siblings were the end result of somebody who somehow found or took the baby birds and was trying to keep them as pets before they were finally confiscated or surrendered to a wildlife center and eventually made their way to the California Raptor Center. That is Mary and Pippin. That is our walkthrough of the Raptor Center.